Hello everyone, welcome back to SliverStar Arcade and more. The Great Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we met our client, Mr. McGillid, who was accused of a pretty straightforward case, killing someone while in a carriage. He claims that he was asleep. We also met Barak von Zeeks, our Edgeworth for the game. He is also known as the Reaper of the Old Bailey. I will be butchering both of those two people's voices the entire time. Anyways, it's time for the witnesses. Witnesses, your names and occupations. Hopefully this can actually get picked up on the mic. Well, I feel that when I do his voice, it's a bit quiet. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay, I'm a banker in the city. My name's First, Lady First. I, make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Just, is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Very well then, let us proceed to your formal testimonies, please. I forget, there's too many voices. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Wait, what does that say? What did that say? What the witnesses saw? It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accursed just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. 1 second, everyone. Okay, I've tried turning down the volume a smidge. So hopefully you can hear my voice over it better. Or maybe that's too much. I know that when I do his voice, I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that the civilizations in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant? Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean, the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much.
Yes.
The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building.
Here? What? The entire carriage?
Bailiff, bring forth the stricken omnibus.
Whoa! So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing.
As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus.
Is this why they still have double-deckered buses in England?
And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above.
Ah, the skylight. Oh!
The penny drops at last, I see. These two gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight.
That makes perfect sense.
Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence.
The omnibus has been entered into the court record. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here.
Let us continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray, don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights.
Deep breath. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court.
Focus, Ryanosuke. Focus!
Cross-examination! What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had... Press.
Hold it!
Hold it! Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir, that's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold, so freezing, in fact. Oh, I remember this. Okay. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though, no.
And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example?
You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none.
So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then?
I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does, every evening. That last of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, so sorry to say.
What do you mean by that?
Well, with life being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again.
The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other on the bus.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage?
That's right. When you sit up on the deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had a pretty good view.
Their gloves are different.
The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't make out their faces. But there's no shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGillard.
How can you be so sure?
Well, how can I put it politely? McGillard is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGillard. There is no room for doubt here.
I really wish there was. We should be doing something real quick.
Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged the knife right into his guts.
Oh, wait, no, shoot, go back. Okay, so that's how you switch over. I would like to look at... I'd like to quickly examine everything. Well, let's open that door and go inside, shall we?
Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible.
Oh, wow. So, like, we're doing this now. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Yeah, let's... That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof of the deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark. There was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Ooh, so that's important to know. Ah, that's a poster for the great... So that's supposed to be the Crystal Tower. And what's this? Oh, it says Crystal Tower. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside then. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, no. I haven't seen enough. I forgot. I keep forgetting. You have to check the ceiling. Check the ceiling. Like, I know we should be doing testimony, but I wanna look at everything first. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And and only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such... Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? What? Aren't kimonos like super soft, like to the point where like girls would wear them in schools? Anyways, I thought there was going to be something with the lever here. Because this seat has a handle, it seems. Would you look at that? This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyways. I guess next would be to check the... This is so cool, like exploring the crime scene in the court. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they have to pay money to do so? Ugh, I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Could you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Ooh, that might... Job masters let one around office. What the... You can't... Phoenix Wright... Or Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Like, why is this here and why can I not interact with it? Also, did they really have license plates numbers back then? You can certainly see the inside of the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly. This is good for us. Hey, but what about that latch? You can certainly see it. So that punishment thing, I wonder if the coach master or stagecoach, whatever that guy's name is being punished, and that's why he has to, because he said his boss is doing it. Well, I guess his box is, I don't know if that's supposed to be Phoenix or Phoenix. Sorry about that, let's get back. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No, by the way, is Mr. McGillid right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ah, pity, if only it had been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Is that a reference to something? I feel like that's a reference to a case in another game. Like, like, it was proven that someone couldn't be the shooter because the defendant was like right-handed or left-handed, or whichever one. Or no, like the defendant's like the fingerprints from the defendant's right hand were on the weapon, but a photo of the incident shows that the weapon was used in the left hand. Anyways, was that all there is to the gloves? Victim: thrice fried mason, male, 54, brickmaker, time and cause of death. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying. Died due to internal hemorrhage resulting from the trauma. Alright, let's get back on to it. You actually saw the exact moment it happened? They're not already testified to that. Or our fair dinkum hard-working seed bankers not considered trustworthy these days. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's...
My lord! Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this?
My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. The stinking rich never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway.
This is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors.
What is happening here? Let me see. Yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before.
Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? That's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right from his belly. That huge great knife.
A grim sight indeed.
Wait, I'm recording, right? Didn't pause it? Okay. That didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGillett is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions.
Mr. First,
Oh, yes, sir.
is this the knife you saw?
Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. That's the very one, sir. Is that...
Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial, the letter M, which seems oddly familiar.
Please, no.
M, for Magnus perhaps? Or McGillett possibly? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Yes, like in Mason.
Objection!
Objection! This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No! This weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused.
Ugh.
Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel.
The murder weapon has been entered. The large knife that was found lodged in the victim's oven, its quality and fancy ornament suggest it might be quite valuable. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. 1 second. I'd like to take a look at this. That part is the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? Oh, sorry, yes, I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyways, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Eek. Not looking good for us. Ugh, that looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood, the victim's. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Now, where's this sigil they were talking? Oh, there it is. An ornate letter M, undeniably Mr. Magnus McGillett's initial. And it's beautifully gilded, too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah, what is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W. Yes, this is one of those, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know it all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well, that idea was quickly quashed. Any other marks? Alright.
Ah, juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGillett is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members have proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. Oh wait, is it one of those things where like everyone has to agree? Okay, alright. Because if it was majority rules, we should just give up now. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that will uncover something that'll give us a way to fight back. But alright. I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. Alright. So when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin were the victim and the defendant. And, so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Stop reading my mind! Ugh. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGillard really innocent? Or could it be... Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witnesses' statements again, and a little more carefully this time. Okay. I guess we should press.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10.
Excuse me.
Mr. First. Oh, how can I help you, sir? That last statement, did it trouble you in some way? Oh, not particularly, sir, no. If anything, he's troubling me with that hat of his. Has he greased his head? Oh dear sir, I hope my hat's not troubling you, sir. I'm still just an apprentice, you see. Mr. Naruto, even the witness can see what's going through your mind. You really must be more careful. I wish it were that simple. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage?
That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right at your feet.
Excuse me.
Mr. First! How can I help you? That last statement? Not particularly.
Then out of the blue, the accuser reached over and plunged a knife into his guts. Why don't you ask the young man next to me?
Alright.
Excuse me.
Wait, what? Oh, I thought I was on to something there. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. I couldn't help it.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say? You were on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats.
Excuse me.
Oh, me, sir. Do you have something to add in relation to that last statement? Well, sir, there's just one thing, sir. I was wondering what's going to become of my omnibus, sir, after the trial. What do you mean? I can't help wondering. Will no one want to ride in a cursed carriage someone was killed in? Or will everyone want to ride in it? Yes, the cursed carriage could be an attraction, maybe. It could be a sink or swim moment for me. Oh yes, I think it will be. Well, if you could just focus on the testimony for the time being, please. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, so that last thing, I didn't press that last thing. I thought it looped back around. Oh, okay, alright. So we still have one more statement we can press. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped the bus, and then I saw it too.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was.
And by the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason the brickmaker.
And then the other passenger had the knife in his hand, like this.
By the other passenger, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGillid.
And they plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What?
My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you two, as the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say.
No, please, just keep an open mind, little look.
Gee up now, Silverblaze, the finish is in sight. Beepo was a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says.
Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir.
Which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6.
Yes, dear. What can I do for you?
You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand.
Oh, yes. I certainly have. Still got me hearing, you know. Or my hearing.
Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning?
Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park around the same time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGillid Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life.
He's always doing wonderful things for the city.
That's right! A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to McGillid Public Library later and borrow some more books?
How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGillid really is?
Oh shit, listen to his music.
what kind of a man he is. Why is it so quiet though? Like, this music is so quiet. The philanthropist Magnus McGillid has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the crows! McGillid lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak.
I've never heard any mention of that before.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh shit. What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service?
You're not saying that...
The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as to no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGillid. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGillid.
I don't believe it.
Hold it!
If I might add something briefly,
Mr. Soda? Or Sato?
you claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGillid. But where is the evidence to support your claim?
Oh no, the wine glass. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law. Ah, there it is! Lord Van Zeek's hollowed chalice!
Can this be considered acceptable?
But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself.
As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job.
What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
Oh,
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. The debtor's ledger has been entered into the court record. We are so screwed. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. Let's take a look at that. Catalog of people who had borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest. It includes a victim who owed 20 guineas. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry.
oh dear. Do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know of any London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside. Well, let's see what we find. This camera is weird. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all they're not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh, yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. The details of the Darius ledger have been updated. Among the fence, Bruce Fairplay would have been due to repay his loan imminently. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little part, too. What a scoundrel. Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before... I don't stand for nonsense. That was it. The last juror's decision. According to this encyclopedia of British law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the proceeding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh! There's a footnote. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Mr. Soda, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your encyclopedia of British law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination. From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck.
Oh. What even is it, Mrs. Soda? This so-called summonation examination. Oh, one moment, and I'll read about it.
You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails? Typical Nipponese.
Alright, Mr. Naruto, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury.
To do what exactly?
Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decision, as it says here. As it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the child must be resumed.
Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summonation examination in an attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really. So it rather fell out of use.
I wonder why.
Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age.
Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Miss Naruto?
I got that thing in my throat.
A summonation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out, or admit defeat? Assert our right. The defense witnesses to assert its right to a summonation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summonation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial.
The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summonation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot.
This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold all this justifying lark. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then. Summonation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for. To turn this trial around.
So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGillard, guilty of this serious crime.
Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions, which we will tackle
in the next episode. This was a long one. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay safe, have fun, and have a great day.